Good evening, Atina the Witch 13 here. Hope everyone is having a good evening. I thought I'd come to you today to do a Q&A, talk to you about the craft, um, answer some questions that I have here. Um, and I would like to start off with the big one, which is the word witch. Okay. Now, some people do not like to use the word witch. They don't want it out there. They think that it might make them look in a bad light uh, because people still have this preconceived notion and idea of what a witch is based on Hollywood and all of its wonderful stories. I have a fly around in this room driving me crazy. Anyhow, especially when you begin the path, the pagan path, if that is your choice, or Wicca, it you might be afraid to say that you're a pagan or you're a witch. Okay. Um, Pagan is even harder for some people to actually imagine because of the way they were brought up. I come from a Catholic family. So, I went to school, Catholic school all my life, went to boarding school with nuns. And so the Catholic faith indoctrinated in me. But I still had this voice inside of me that didn't quite believe everything I was taught. And luckily for me, I had a mother and grandmother, an aunt who understood that. And they didn't push anything into me. They just answered my questions, And I think that allowed me to be inquisitive and do my own research to see what appealed to me, what resonated within me. And I knew that I was going to keep the baby, but I was going to throw out the bathwater, meaning keep Jesus, trying God, and throw out the church. Now, I'm not trying to bash the church because there are some good things about it. Like in every religion, there's good and there's not so good. And it's for you to discern what resonates within you. Okay, what makes you feel comfortable? What is it that you can live with? What it is that you can practice? Okay, that's basically my thought. But a lot of times, come out, even though you may have been a witch for quite some time, it's still frightening because you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So you just have to take that leap of faith and feel what's comfortable for you. Okay? I'm a big believer that no one should force anyone else to come out if they're not ready. That is a personal thing. And if you're new to the path, some of the concepts may be very foreign to you, and you kind of wonder, am I going to hell if I believe in the pagan way or the Wiccan way? I don't believe in hell. And I think I've said this on one of my previous videos. I don't believe in hell. To me, hell is on earth. Yeah. We're here and we go through so many trials and tribulations. We're here to learn. This is our school. Some people can deal with it and some people cannot. So to me, my God is a loving God, and I don't think that I will be not accepted when my time comes to go home. I think that instead his arms or her arms will be open widely and say, come home, child, where you're loved and comfortable. So that's my pick on that. Now, why do some people prefer to call themselves Wiccan or witch. Okay? I'm proud to call myself a witch. I think the word witch, the root of witch, comes from manipulation, bending the thought process, making things happen. Okay, so I like it personally. um, how can I say this? Some Wiccans, and not all Wiccans, okay, don't like to say witch because they feel that it stresses more magic than anything else. I think that's an individual thing, really, like anything else. Um, for example, I have the deity Athena, Hecate, and like I did mention, the Morgan, but she hasn't spoken to me yet. She may never, you know. Um, but as a pagan, I don't fall into the Wiccan realm because I just don't care about being a priestess. It's not my thing, right? And I'm not saying it's wrong, okay? Just not me, all right? But I feel strongly about reclaiming the word witch, okay, as an honorable and as important, okay? You could read more about witches online to get a better understanding. I'm very proud, it's been in the family. I think that I'm stronger because I have a different way of looking at things. I value nature. Nature is my church, you know. And the spells that I do for the goodness of all. So, like I said, I don't do spells for people because I believe that you should harness your own energy and power and put that into your intent so that it's special to you, you know. I think you get more out of it, so to speak. The other question I was asked, what do witches look like? Hmm. You may be walking by a witch every day and wouldn't know it. You may be working with a witch in your office, didn't know it, unless they wanted to come out and tell you, okay? Or some will actually dress in black nail polish, black lipstick, black hair, black eyeshadow. Um, to each his own. You look at me, I'm an Auburn, okay? The only time I dress up as a witch would be if I'm going to a conference or a get together with other witches, um, or Halloween, Samhain. Yeah. Um, it's what you feel inside. That's what counts. How you feel inside. Not so much the way you dress. But I understand that it's a personal thing. Again, um, I have the conical hat, and I wear that for special occasions. And I was asked a question about the conical hat. Why is it always pointed? Well, just like the mitre of a priest, well, not a priest, but of a bishop or a cardinal, okay, it's because it's pointing to the sky, to heaven, to the powers that be, the universe, okay? That's why, which is where the conical hat, you know. Uh, so, and they came out with other kind of hats, a little bit different. I actually have one, and Misty likes to play with it. Yeah. Appearance is not everything, but some people feel that it makes them feel that they belong. Okay, whatever you feel, however you want to dress. When I was in Salem, and I went to see Laurie Cabot, the actually the Witch of Salem, and she's quite moving on in age right now. I mean, she was the first witch in Salem to walk around in a black cloak with long black hair, okay, and dark, smoky eye makeup. She didn't care. That was her thing. And when you go to Salem, what I find amazing is that the police actually have a witch on their car. On their shirt, the emblem is that of a witch. I mean, I love it. It's cool, It really is good. Um, do witches have a secret agenda? No, we don't have a secret agenda. Okay. We do what comes natural to us, Like I said, some witches live near other witches. I don't have that luxury. I wish I did. And they would get together on the Sabbaths, or they would hang out, in between time if they had the time. And they would talk shop. They would talk about what they've been experiencing, what spells have been working for them. And they share information and they educate each other as well. And I believe it is the duty of every witch to educate a newbie witch. Okay? You don't have to be a bloodline, hereditary, or anything like that. It's what's in your heart. The moment you say, I'm a witch, I'm a pagan, you are. It's that simple. Okay? Nobody tells a witch or a pagan what to think. Okay? We're independent thinkers. And that's probably one of the reasons why I am not part of Wicca and a coven, because I like to do my own thing. So I guess you could call me a solitary, eclectic Christian witch. If you want to put a label to it, I guess that's what you could say. Funny story was, we were at church one day, and it was around Halloween. And my husband blurted out to one of the members there, my wife's a witch. Well, she didn't get it. She was, oh, we're all witches around Halloween. I had a chuckle because if she only knew, So my husband turned around, looked at me, and goes, I don't think she got what I was saying. I said, no, she didn't, but that's okay. And then someone else came out to me and said, you're a witch, right? And I said, yeah, I'm a witch. I said, does that bother you? And he said, no, it's just a little strange. Why? Why do you believe what you believe? I have no problem with it. And the reason why I go to church, and it's not the Catholic Church, it's the Presbyterian Church, because I got married to my second husband in the Presbyterian Church when we lived up north. and now we live down south. Um, I like to hear what the pastor has to say. I don't always agree. Like I said, I take bits and pieces, and what resonates with me, I keep, and what doesn't, I discard. And the fellowship is very nice. They're non judgmental from what I've experienced so far, and they're very welcoming. And it's a camaraderie. So, I mean, who can't benefit from that? You know, especially when you get a certain age, you kind of, your friends are starting to kind of like disappear for various reasons. So, yeah. Do witches fly? Well, not on broomsticks, okay? Although one of my bumper stickers says, "This is my second car." Okay. Um, I guess if you want to do astral projection, you could say yes, but you don't have to be a witch for that. Um, we're not like the Hollywood hocus pocus type witches that get on a broom or a vacuum cleaner and take off into the sky. No, no. If you want to talk about flying, it would be more of a meditative state that you put yourself in, you know, that kind of thing. But do witches all have black hair? No, as you can see, I don't. I know there are blonde witches, there are brunette witches, there are redhead witches, there are blackhead witches. The people, you know. I mean, some will dye their hair black because they want to feel more like it, but I really don't feel that that's the end all. Can witches look at themselves in the mirror? That makes me laugh. Yeah, I do every day. And especially in the morning when I'm trying to get ready for work, I kind of scare myself because I don't have any makeup on. Especially if it was a rough night. But yes, we do look at ourselves in the mirror. Okay. Do witches lose their power if they cut their hair? I'm not Samson from the Bible. No. Actually, I cut my own hair. Okay. I never get a satisfying haircut when I go to a hairstylist. I think in all of my 70 years, I may have had 2 hairstylists that actually knew how to cut and style my hair to make it look good. Other than that, they just butcher me. So I'm done. Thank you. All right. I mean, it might not be the best haircut, but it'll do. Are there different kind of witches? There are so many kind of witches. There are kitchen witches. There are hedge witches. There are solitary witches. There are so many witches, eclectic witches, plant witches, greenhouse witches. I mean, you could go on and on and on and on. Okay. When I say eclectic, it's because I take a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Especially like, for example, when I'm cooking in the kitchen. Many of the herbs that I have in my cabinet, spices, are the same that I'll use in a spell. So I'm actually cooking with blending my little witchy seasonings into my meals and making them taste better. So I am doing a spell at the same time. When I get up in the morning and I have my coffee, I take my spoon and I stir my coffee 3 times. And as I'm doing that, I'm thinking of something, an intention. Okay? Why not? Any act during the day that captures my attention, makes me think, and I will send an intent. So that's what witches do. And we never, when we come to doing spells, we're kind of hoarders, if you will. Yeah. But we kind of have to put a limit to our hoarding because it can get pretty bad. For example, I love to go to garage sales. I love to go to antique shop. I find the cutest old things that you wouldn't see elsewhere. Okay. But a witch uses whatever he or she has at home. We don't throw things out. It's like when I get a present, I will keep the wrapping, I will keep the ribbon, and I may make use of it in some form or another. I don't throw anything out that I think can be useful. And that's what us witches are all about. It has to do also with the economy. It has to do with saving the planet. Do I recycle as a witch? Yeah, I do. I think we have too much waste to begin with. We are stewards of this beautiful planet, Mother Earth, and it is our job to actually take care of it. There was, I think it was a couple of years ago, before I moved down this area. There's a group of witches in Toms River, I believe, and they adopted a highway, and they pick up the garbage that is on the highway. They help out in the community. I mean, what's bad about that? Nothing. It's honorable. Witches are very much involved in community affairs. And because we are healers, we are givers, you know, we love the planet and we want to make this planet stay for future generations. So, yeah. Oh boy. Hereditary witches. There are hereditary witches. Um, Not necessarily bloodline. Like I come from my grandmother, my mother. I guess you could call that hereditary because they pass down their knowledge, you know, as I pass down my knowledge to whomever wants to hear it. So, but there are, I suppose, there are bloodline witches. I have never met any, but I'm sure there are. Um, but like I said, the moment you say you're a witch because you know what? It's in here, in the heart. Okay. Of course, it's a good idea for you to read about being a witch, being a pagan, um, you know, to get a base and an understanding. Because reading it, all of a sudden you may discover that maybe that's not what I want. Or maybe I finally found it. Either or, you know? So, um, witches keep things secret for a reason. Not because they want to hold one on you, because if they're doing a spell, they're putting all that power, all that intent into that spell. And if they share that with other people, they might get negative vibes coming from these people. Sometimes it's from people who are jealous. Sometimes it's from people who don't wish you well, you know? So, or make fun of you. Okay, they just want to ask you questions and then you give them the answers and they want to put you down. So, I mean, witches keep things secret until it manifests, and then they can share it. Okay, and like I said, they'll write about it in the Book of Shadow. Okay. Um, what is a natural witch? What is a natural witch? I guess you could say it's a solitary witch. You know, it's a witch that walks in nature. I love nature. Of all seasons, every season to me is absolutely gorgeous because it's so special. Each one is special. Each season brings its own specialty. Of course, I'm biased when it's autumn. I can tell you before the legal date that is autumn. I can smell it in the air. I can taste it. And I can go, it's coming. It's coming. And I just love it. I guess, some people resonate to spring, and I think spring is wonderful because it's renewal, okay? It's a new beginning, after winter where everything died down and we hibernated for those that are old from the cold. Um, the spring is a new welcoming, you know, flowers start to come out of the snow when the snow melts, buds on the tree, the weather gets much nicer. Still cold to a certain extent. Right now we're in June, actually June the 6th, and it's pretty nippy out there. So it's going to go down to the 50s tonight. So I think we're going to hit probably not until mid-June. Um, we won't see the 80 temperature mark. But that's all with the earth changing from the way we live and treat the earth, you know. So we have to be mindful of those things, you know. Why do we celebrate, the full moon? Why do we celebrate the Sabbaths? It's our way of honoring, okay, our connection to the powers that be, okay. Back in the day, eons ago, pagans lived by the stars in the sky and the moon and the sun for their crops, for their stock. And that's what they went by. Of course, we've evolved, but hey, we still look at that. I look at the sky every night and I look for the Big Dipper, the Little Dipper, Venus, you know. So it has a calming effect. It's almost like we cannot be the only beings in this world. I mean, in this planet, okay? When there are billions of stars out there, there's got to be life somewhere else. And I don't know if you're a believer in UFOs. I am. I think they've been here a long time before man. I think that some are here, living here in human form. Ever hear the walk-ins? I believe in that too. So I think they're here to study us. I believe in what was Atlantis. Plato talked about it all the time, gave descriptions of it. We keep on investigating to find it. A lost civilization, they call it, because they got too greedy and too smart for their own good. Maybe that's a little bit about us too, to some extent. But another question is when there is a male witch, okay, you will hear the words warlock when addressed to a male, which really isn't accurate. It's really witch. Male witch, female witch, same thing, really, Some people feel that it's an insult to call a male witch a warlock. You know, again, to each his own. You know, there are witches in the city. There are urban witches. You know, there are witches in the closet. There are witches that freely are out there. There are witches that don't always practice as much. And sometimes that can be due to health. That can be due to how stressful their life is. You know, I'm a big believer in meditation. It got me through having to raise 4 kids. If I didn't have meditation, I'd be probably locked up in a loony bin by now. It helped me to relax and to re-energize. And then I could go and put in more hours of work that I needed to do. Especially when you're growing a family, 3 boys and a girl, and every child is different. They all have their issues, okay? And you're trying to please them all and you can't. So I would do what I had to do to take care of my children, and then I would go upstairs to my room and lay down, and they knew not to disturb me, okay? They watched each other, and for a half an hour I would meditate. And then I get up, and boom, I'm good to go again, okay? That's how I manage. And I still, to this day, do my meditation every day because it's just relaxing and it helps me focus better at everything, really. It keeps me peaceful, serene, you know. Do witches have road rage? Yeah, we're normal. We're human beings. We have road rage. But I find that if someone gives you the birdie, you just smile at them and say, have a good day. And that disarms them because they're like, what's her problem? I just gave her the birdie. Why argue? Okay. I always say, you want to cut me off? Well, go ahead, because I still want to stay on this planet for a while longer. Be my guest. You know, I'm not going to give the birdie or start yelling and cursing and whatever. Not worth it. You want to go ahead. I'll take my time. You know? So, covens. What can I say about covens? Not everyone likes a coven, but there are people who do. And they find solace in being with other witches, celebrating the Sabbaths, planning to do certain events. And that's fine. You know, there's always a priestess and a priest in a coven, you know, and they meet on specific days. They celebrate the Sabbaths, you know. They talk about all sorts of things. They're very involved in the community as well, you know. The coven's not for everybody, okay? I really don't have the time to invest in that. Like I said, I'm constantly on the go. So being a solitary witch is what suits me, you know. Let's see. Do witches have to wear long black nails? No, I don't. But there are some that like it. That's fine, you know. To each his own, you know. Do you believe in the law of three? That's a Wiccan creed, and I do. I do adopt it. I do believe in it. I think that, you know, do as I will and harm none is also another one of the Wiccan creeds, and I believe in that as well. I also believe that you may not intentionally want to hurt somebody, but you can without realizing it by your words, your deeds, what you say, and how you say it to someone, or look, you know. Um, and so I feel that that is a lesser problem than if you really went out to hurt someone on purpose, like sending a hex on them or something like that. That's pretty rough. That's bad, you know. Um, the thing is, like, throw the salt over your left shoulder and you turn around 3 times clockwise. Okay, yeah, superstition, Reincarnation. Do witches believe in reincarnation? Most of them do, not all. I do. I mean, I see these prodigal children, 3, 4, 5 years old, who are geniuses, who can write classical music and play the piano like nobody else, or can tell you, oh, I was a girl in my past life and I had blonde hair and blue eyes. And the mother goes, no, you didn't. You actually have brown hair, brown eyes. What are you talking about, another life? And little by little, they come out with more details. Say, I was a girl, and my name was Olive, and I lived here, and these were my parents. How do they know this? From a past life. And there are so many stories about that, okay? And usually it's around the age of 3 when the children start having flashes of a past life and start blurting out these sentences about who they were and where they lived. Yeah. And I know as myself, when I did it was like a hypnosis, if you will, on my own, where I actually went into a very deep state. And through my mind's eye, I just let things come, whatever was passing me. And I had 3 past lives that I actually know. The first one was one that actually my psychic George in Salem, God bless him, he's no longer with us, he told me. He said, you lived in Greece, in Italy, in Ireland, in Greece, in Italy, in the UK. It seemed to be that was not just one past life. I don't know what I did, but there's a feeling, a very strong feeling and attachment that I have to Greece and to Italy and to Ireland, UK, England and Scotland. So that was one of the past lives that I could remember about. I was there. I don't know what I did, but I was there. The second one was in Ireland. I'm standing on a cliff overlooking a ship that's sailing for America. And I'm wearing black dress with a black shawl, and my hair is in a bouchon, and I'm crying. And I realized that I was crying because my son is leaving for the Americas and I'll never see him again. And then one day I saw a picture in a book and I saw the same cliff. And I immediately knew what that meant. So that was one. The second one was a nun in a church. She's facing the stained glass mirror and the sun is shining through. And of course, she's all lit up. But her back is facing me. And I've had this dream so many times, but I just couldn't figure out why. So I said to her one day, show me your face. Who are you? And one day she did. And I was a guest. It was me. I was a nun, a Carmelite in another life. I hope I was nice. Then the third one, and I've always had, like I said, this feeling. I always loved the nuns and the church, but not the teachings of the church so much. But I still love to go and sit in a church when it's open, and that's pretty rare, and just sit there in the calmness and be surrounded by a spirit. You can do that at home too. You can do that in your yard too, but there's a specialness there. But the other one that I was talking about, very close to the South. My family was in all the wars, American Civil War, Spanish War, Korean War, Vietnam War, Afghanistan War. So here I am, this swarty 10-year-old kid dressed in a Confederate uniform. And I had beautiful red curly hair and the most beautiful blue eyes. And I'm banging the drum, walking up a hill, and a shot rang out and hit me straight through the heart. Yeah. And my name was Toby. Now, I never went to actually find out whether this was a person in the past. I need to do that because it does bother me to find out. But the memory was just so vivid. It's like I was reliving it again. So, I mean, that's why I believe in reincarnation. I just think that it's true. It resonates with me. And I find we're not just passing through this life, because if we were, what's the purpose? There's got to be a reason why we're here, what we're supposed to do here. And I think we need to look at that because that is very profound. You may have heard, this is one of the things that I was taught. See, I was a lefty when I was a young child. My sister, my mother, my father. Well, I went to Catholic school and I started writing with my left. And I was told, no, you can't do that. As I went up in grade, then we got the ruler tapped on your hand. Don't use your left hand. Use your right. And then one day the nun said to me, the left hand is the hand of the devil. So I go home and I tell my mother, I said, you're in trouble. Mother goes, what? I said, you're in trouble. You're a left-handed person. That's the hand of the devil. He goes, so am I. And that's what sister said. And my mother hightailed down to the school, and she wanted to see that nun, and she really laid it on the nun. And she said, "How dare you tell my daughter that the left hand is the hand of the devil? That's a terrible thing to tell a child." And that was my mother. And so you want to know where I get it from, right? My mother. So yeah, the left hand is not the hand of the devil. Actually, when the percentage of left hand people is lower than right hand people, but left hand people seem to be a little bit more on the mark, you know? And as witches, because of the meditation that we do, we actually join both of our hemispheres, okay? Like, for example, I will decide one morning, I'm not going to take the same road to work. I'm going to take a different way to work. So I'm rewiring my brain how to do things. Cooking, whatever I do, I'll start doing it differently to rewire my brain. Why? Because I believe you have to activate both hemispheres, okay, to be balanced. That's my theory. It works for me. Try it, okay? And it doesn't hurt to know another way to work just in case there's an accident and you need to get out of the lane, okay? Why do some witches, pagans, Wiccans are anti-Christian? You know, I don't think we are as a whole. I think that we accept all religions, all cultures. I think it's the other way around. I think that Christians have a hard time accepting us because they think we dabble with the devil. See, we don't believe in the devil for the most part. Most witches don't believe in the devil, okay? We believe that we were made with free will and we choose to be kind and good, or we can choose to be evil and bad, but it's of our own making, okay? So is there evil in the world? Yes, there's evil in the world, of course. You can't have one without the other. You got to have the yin and the yang, okay? But witches aren't anti-Christian. They're not anti-Jewish. They're not anti-Muslim. They're not anti-Indian, Hindu, whatever, okay? And I think that's the beauty of us, that if anything, we are so giving. We are willing to work with anyone. It's the other side of the coin that is suspicious of us and not trusting us, because of the way they were brought up by Hollywood. Witches are bad, they're evil, they steal your children, they fly on a broom at night, they put curses on you, I remember my grandmother would tell me, because she was from the Appalachia in West Virginia, and she said there were quite a few witches there. She said there was the evil witch, the one who would put a hex on you. And I said, "Well, Grandma, what kind of hex did they put on you?" And she says, "Well, you never knew who it was, but the cows stopped, giving milk. The barns were set on fire. People got sick and died." I said, "Well, people get sick and die all the time." She says, "Yeah, but not in a series like that." Oh, okay. She said, and then there was the good witch who would undo what the evil witch did. Okay. And then there was the medicine witch, and she was the healer. She was the one who would help in delivering babies to her neighbors who lived a mile or two away. Okay. Um, and she, used herbs and boiled the herbs and made compresses and poultices and elixirs and so forth. Okay. And then there was the water witch, you know. Um, Grandma said, and actually she showed me how to do it. And I thought it was really cool. And I showed it at my friends. And the mothers wanted to know where I got that from. And my grandmother said, "What did you tell them?" I said, "That you showed me how to do this." She goes, "Oh boy. Okay, just leave it at that." Okay. Remember the wired hangers? Okay. Well, here you have the top, right? The curve, and then the two sides, and then down, right? So you would cut over here and here, and you would be able to hold it, the handle, and the wire would go out here. So if you had two of them, okay, you would go and walk around in grass, okay? And if they started moving like this together, that meant there was water down there, okay? That's why they called it the water witch. So not everyone could do that, but the water witch could. So she would tell me stories, about um, how hard it was back then to live, um, and that people lived on land, and they farmed whatever they had, and it was a very isolating place. That's why a lot of them had a lot of children, because they were far from other people, you know. So the more children they had, the bigger the family, the cozier it was. And the older children took care of the other children and so forth. So that's how that was. That's why I don't know if you're familiar with Dolly Parton and her song, Her Coat of Many Colors. It reminds me of my mother, who actually knit a coat for me with all those colors. And so when I hear the song, it kind of like brings tears to my eyes, because unlike Dolly Parton's story, where her mother had pieces of cloth that someone gave away, she, made it into a coat of many colors for her daughter. So Mom knitted my coat of many colors. It's sweet. Are witches former atheists? Not always. There are witches that are atheists, just like there are witches that are Christian, that are Jewish, and so forth. Yeah, sure. Did I raise my children as pagans? My children went to Catholic church, okay? But my first husband was Muslim. So my three boys went the Catholic way. My daughter decided to go the Muslim way. And that's because, to me, religion is a religion. I am not against Muslims. I'm not against Jews. I'm not against Christians, Catholics. I think that you have to have some kind of a structure, a base. But I don't want to impregnate your brain and brainwash you with one particular faith. I think I want my children to be able to question, okay? And if they feel that this is the right path for them, then so be it later on in life. But in the beginning, I like to give them a structure. Now, that does not negate the fact that I'm a witch and I do spells, and my children, see the spells that I do and ask questions, and I tell them. Do they have an interest in it? My boys don't. They laugh. Think it's cute. My daughter understands it better because she was my sidekick for quite a while before she went into the Air Force. Um, she has a better understanding of it. But I don't force anything on anyone. Okay. I believe it's your own calling. You have to find out who you are. Okay. To me, that's important. Deities. What do I think about deities? Deities are like saints, as far as I'm concerned. I invoke the saints, and each saint has a different specialty, and so does each deity have a different specialty. I don't worship them, but I do honor and respect them. You know, um, I use them as people to intercede on my behalf if I'm doing a spell. Um, can't hurt, can't hurt. But the only one I bow down to is the Triune God. That's it. Um, to me, God is androgynous. It's both male, female. It's a spirit. It's a spirit. No one has ever seen the face of God. Okay. Maybe someday we will. I don't know. But to me, it's a spirit. And we are sparks of that gigantic spirit. Okay. That's the way I look at it. What else can I tell you? Book-wise, there are a couple of books that I really, really like. The Spiral Dance by Starhawk, who is a Wiccan priestess. See, Wiccans are more towards the feminist movement, emphasize more the female because they feel that they were oppressed back in, I'm sorry, back in, the days of the renovation. So, I mean, there are male priests, obviously, but I think the emphasis are more on the female. Whereas pagans, it's equal, really. You know, there are so many deities. There's like Aphrodite. I can't even say it. Athena, Aphrodite, Diana. And if you noticed, when Christianity tried to convert the pagans, you know how they did it? By naming Christian holidays on pagan holidays. Okay? So that's how they did it. And they were hoping to convert. So when you think about it, I don't know if you thought about it, but I always thought it was a little weird. We celebrate Christ's birthday on the 24th of December. Well, actually, the 25th, but Christmas Eve, we all get ready, right? And I'm thinking, wait a minute. And this was when I was a kid, so already my mind the wheels were turning. I'm 9 years old, and I'm thinking, wait a minute. December is cold. There's snow out there. And the three wise men traveled. I didn't see any snow on the ground there. And the sheep were out grazing. Now, if it's winter, they're now out grazing. And then Jesus was born in a stable. and he barely had any clothes on him. The poor kid, he was freezing. So I'm like, nah, I don't think it was winter when he was born. And then if you read the gospel, there is a reading in there where he says, I am the great I am. Well, I am is astrologically Aries, April. I think he was born in April. Why we celebrate December 25th? Because it covers a pagan holiday. Okay. Yule. Okay. That's why. But it's very interesting when you think about it. What else can I talk about? Let's see. What deity should you believe in? You don't have to believe in any if you don't want to. But if you feel a calling to one in particular, then it's a good idea to learn about that deity and have regular conversations with that deity. Okay. Develop a relationship. Okay. What else can I do? Becoming a witch. Let's see. Like I said, the moment you say you're a witch, you're a witch. But going back to the books that are good, Drawing Down the Moon by Margot. She passed quite a bit. I was surprised because I didn't realize that she had passed, and I was reading about it. She was one of the, with Strawhawk, she was one of the first women out there. So she passed. And other books, Scott Cunningham, wonderful book on the herbs and the rituals. Again, he goes into depth as a Wiccan, into that. There are books like the Witch's Bible, which is a very nice sized book. There's the Raymond Buckland book. There's two of those actually. But there's so many books out there on the craft, and you can get overwhelmed reading all of them. But they do, even though they are repetitive to some extent, they do have certain twists that maybe was not in one of the books that you read that you find in this one. You know what I'm saying? So reading is good, but at some point you have to take what you learned and start thinking for yourself and start doing your spells. Okay? Now, what if a spell doesn't work? Well, you know what? It didn't work. Maybe you can recreate it using different herbs, okay? Or the setup. Maybe the way you set it up, like for example, the money bowl for your wish on getting more money coming your way. The way I do it, I have this big gold plate and then a smaller silver plate and then a green bowl for money. Okay. The gold and the silver plates are for the attraction of money, the coins, so forth, gold, bullions, that kind of thing. And then on the big plate, I have all of these crystals, different crystals, okay? And I have small little turtles. I have a passport, a small little passport book, binoculars because I want to travel and see everything, a camera. All this is on my big plate. I have seashells because I want to see the ocean. Okay. But in the bowl itself, I have things that mean something to me. Okay. So I'll have a little bottle. Let me see if I can show you. Okay. And in this bottle is coffee. Okay. Why coffee? Because coffee makes things work quickly. Okay. So that's that. Now here's my other one. This is cayenne red pepper. Okay. Cayenne pepper and red pepper in olive oil. Okay. This also acts as a speed up. Okay. Now, I have little sachets like this with some stones in it. I have bay leaves, and I'll write something on it. Money to fill my coffers, abundance, and personal things that I write that I want to happen. And then I will show you. It looks like this. Okay. So I showed you this. And I showed you the cayenne and the red pepper, the coffee. And these are rocks that I found at the seashore. I showed you the bay laurel. And I showed you my petitions. Okay. And key. Now, keys are very symbolic. They open many doors. Okay. Then I have 3 of my cinnamon. I don't know if I can show you this. Hold on. Cinnamon sticks. Okay. Cinnamon sticks. All right. I do things in 3. And I will have all of these tarot cards in here. So, I can see that. Can you see this? Yeah, there you go. All right. That's for money. This is for work, creativity, job. This is the Fool on its journey. Okay. This is the Magician that can make things happen, just like the Witch. This is the King of Pentacles, who is very wealthy, very wise. This is the Queen of Pentacles. Okay. That's kind of my card. Not quite there yet. This is the Sun card. Okay. Meaning that there are brighter days. And this is the Family card. So all of these cards surround in my bowl. Okay. Let's see. And this is a deer cross that I have that I put in there. And what I also have is some coins. Let's see. These are quarters, 3/4 in there. And I have some nuts, 3 nuts. Okay. And I have a baby in there. Okay. Reminds me of the child that I am within. It's story niece. And I have little glass reflectors in here. So let's see. Let's try to get them out. Almost. Okay. And a screw. I have a screw in here as well. Screw to tighten things up. Okay. Where did it go now? It doesn't want to come out. Well, these are these little reflectors. Okay. Different shapes. All right. And then in here, I have herbs. Okay. And I have a ring for a circle. Okay, infinity. And I have my herbs here. Okay. So that's what's in my money bowl. And everyone can make their money bowl the way they want. There's no really particular way to do it. This is personal to me, the way I did it. And I have a little one going. You put what you feel appeals to you. It's your spell, nobody else's. You're doing it for you. Okay. So whatever you feel like doing, just do it. And then what you want to do, you meditate on your money bowl, okay, with your petitions, okay. And there's another thing that I left out. Like I have on my tray a $5 bill. Now, I did have a 20, but the idea of the money bowl is to put money in and take money out. Okay. So I took the 20 out and I will be replacing it soon. But that's the whole idea. And then, you meditate. There we go. Went back over there. Don't lose anything. There. And that's my money bowl. But that's a spell that I do. Now I have also my green candle. Okay, if you can see here, I don't know. There's the sign of Jupiter and their dollar signs. So one row of dollar signs, one row of Jupiter. Okay. And the candle's green for money. All right. And I have my incense burning, my money incense. And I have my other candles burning over here as well. So that puts me in the mood. This is what I like to do. And that's just one little spell, but there are so many different money spells that you can do, and I'll teach you some other ones. But a big part of being a witch is doing spells. Okay. And I like doing things. I like doing crafts. Okay. So for the Sabbath, I'll make certain things that reflect that. I have the Bridget cross that I made and I can't find it. I said I'm going to put it someplace because it wasn't sticking on my door. And because it's fragile, I said I'm going to put it someplace where it can't get damaged. And I'll be darned if I can remember where. So I have to start thinking, meditating on that to find it. But these are all things that, I do. What else did I do? Oh, at Yule time, there is, and I'll show you how to make it. Not now, but I'll show you how to make it. It's a protection device that you hang over your door as well, and it's very nice. And the thing is, you can pick the branches out in your yard. If you don't have a yard, you can go to the park and find branches on the ground, and then with some string, you can actually make this device. It's very simple and very easy, but it has to be renewed every year at Yule time, and the old one you burn it. Okay, that's the other thing. Why do we burn stuff all the time? Why do we use fire? Why do we use what do they call that? The coals for the burner. Because fire mutates, fire transforms, okay? And so we're sending that petition up into the universe. So that's why we do that, okay? What else can I tell you? Candles, we went over candles, and I said that, be very careful when you use candles, not to leave the room with candles that are lit, okay? Because fires happen so easily, For those who were in the closet, and a lot of times it's teenagers living at home, and they know that their parents would not approve of their practicing the craft. So there are things that they can do, and I'll make a separate video on that, okay? And nobody would know. So it's just, for them. Is it okay not to practice every day the craft? Yeah. People need a break like anything else. There was Lady Grave Dancer on YouTube for many years, at least 10 years. I can't find her anymore. And I think that she either stopped altogether or she is concentrating. I know she wanted to open up her own store, so she may be doing that. So, witches on YouTube, they come and they go, all right? Because life evolves. What I believed when I was younger, not necessarily do I believe today, okay? Because you mature, you evolve, you learn more, and you change things. It bothers me when people say, well, you said this before, so now you changed your mind. Well, because I didn't know that this existed. Now I know, so therefore the circumstances are different, so we learn and we change, when you go to sleep at night, and I believe I did talk about this, but I'll state it again. And you want to remember your dream, drink some chamomile tea, or you can drink some vervain, okay? And take a block of paper and a pen and leave it by your nightstand, because the first 3 hours is usually when we dream during REM sleep. And so when you wake up, you can, write bits and pieces of what you remember. Eventually, it'll come to you, and you'll get all the pieces to the puzzle, and you'll know what the dream was about. I never found dream books to help. I have 2 or 3 of them. They don't always answer my questions. I kind of find out the answers myself down the line, Um, what else did I was going to say? Um, oh, horseshoes. Uh, there's a saying that the horseshoe should be turned up. I don't even know where I have my horseshoe. Well, anyhow, the horseshoe should be turned up, okay, above a door. And that supposedly brings you luck, okay? Um, in Pennsylvania, they have on the barns all of these round plaques, and they have a lot of different colors and diagrams on them and everything. And that's to ward off evil. Okay, that's to protect livestock. And it's very interesting um, to go and see that. Um, Someone asked me about initiation. Pagans don't initiate, Wiccans do. I mean, you can initiate yourself if you want to follow the Wiccan religion, obviously. There's so much on that information. So, we basically try to do good, okay, in the community. We help out others. And that's part of who we are. Now, you can go on social media and try and reach out like I'm doing to see if there are any other witches that want to join in my video, do a chat and talk about different subjects of the craft. I always think that's very interesting. So if there's any witches out there that want to do that, please let me know, and we'll get together and do that. I have a lot of things to actually talk about. I think that's going to be it for tonight. It's getting late. But basically, there's no fear, nor should there be any fear of you being a pagan or a witch. I know some people don't want to put it out there because there is a certain group of people that can be very mean and cruel, and you don't want to expose yourself or your family. So I think you got to be cautious, but not fearful. There's a difference. Be cautious, but not fearful. People I have met actually are not the ones that worry me at all, if anything, because they have not judged me, if you will. It's the ones online. I was on Facebook some time back, and I got the cruelest, the most disgusting replies that I ever thought were capable coming from a human's mouth. So, but that stopped me dead in my tracks because it was hurtful, and I had to meditate on that. And I said, you know what? They're not going to stop me from being who I am. So if they don't like me, too bad. That's my take, but that's not always everybody's take, okay? So you do what's right for you, okay? What resonates for you. You tell who you want to tell, who you feel safe to tell, and who you don't. That's the way I look at it. So I hope this was informative. And like I said, if you want to join me, we can have a get together of witches and share our experiences. Just let me know, drop me a line, okay? So God bless and have a great night. And I will see you tomorrow and we'll talk about another subject of the craft. Okay, good night. Bye bye. God bless.